At some point, we have to decide what type of relationship we want with our art. Because either you're in a committed relationship with it or it's an acquaintance. This decision literally depends on one question that you have to ask yourself. What do I want out of creating? Usually we want to do it because it makes us feel good. It's usually about that feeling that it gives you. It's all about that rush of inspiration you get. You know, getting lost in a drawing when you've drawn for like a whole day and literally eating feels annoying because you just want to draw. You know, the feeling that makes the world fade away and it's just you and your artwork. The best way I can describe this is literally feeling alive. And for this feeling to last, you actually have to make the conscious decision to act upon it. I think many artists get stuck because sometimes we need to be reminded that that feeling won't stick unless you commit to it. And I think that that's when many people say, I don't have the motivation, I don't have time for it, I'll get back to drawing when I feel like it. Sometimes you just feel like you can't draw, and trust me, I've been there. And this is why I'm comparing art to a friend, because in friendships, or any relationship for that matter, it takes work to keep them up. You actively call your friends, you make time for them. If your friend or family member isn't feeling good, it affects you and you want to help them. All of this is effort and work that you've put into those relationships. And that's why some friends drift away from each other when one moves far away. But one call every single week could literally strengthen that relationship and make it last. Me and my two best friends have been friends since we were 9 years old, and that's 13 years. So it's literally majority of my life. Even right now, we're long distance because we're all studying different things in different cities here in Sweden. But that daily communication and those daily check-ins, those are what kept our relationship alive. They're literally a part of me now. We're for lifers, purr. And just know that our relationship hasn't always been stable. We've had our ups and downs. There have been times where we've literally fought with each other, drifted away, but what mattered the most was that we found our way back to each other at last. And this is the type of relationship you need to have with your art, especially if you're serious about it. I remember that I almost broke up with my art once. It was right before art school actually, and I remember I was working a lot, so I wasn't really drawing. And maybe you've been there too, because you know, those weeks that you haven't drawn turn into months, and those months turn into a whole year, and then suddenly you feel like a stranger to your own sketchbook. Like it feels weird opening it up, and when you try to get back to it in the beginning, you're like kind of rusty and nothing looks right, I've noticed. And that's when that doubt creeps in and you start thinking, oh, maybe I've forgotten how to draw. Maybe I wasn't as talented as I thought. None of these thoughts are actually helpful. They're just your brain trying to protect you from the pain of failure. If you've ever heard the quote, your brain isn't here to make you happy, it's here to keep you alive, I feel like it kind of applies here. Because think about it. Failure at something you think you're really good at or you've been praised for your whole life, it just feels like a threat to your identity. So you end up avoiding it altogether. But the gag is, you didn't lose your artistic skill. You just stopped showing up to keep it alive and fresh in your mind. If this was a friendship with someone you really loved, would you just walk away? Probably not. You'd try to check up on them and reconnect again. And that's exactly what I did with art. I just picked up the pencil and got right back into drawing. I was definitely a bit rusty at first, feeling like I wasn't drawing as well as I used to, but I pushed through and eventually I found my artistic spark again. I started drawing even if I didn't feel like it, because I wanted to get my flow back. So if you're serious about your art, treat it like a real relationship. Show up for it, just like you would do your friends. Put in time, even when you're uninspired. Understand that sometimes you'll drift apart, we can always come back. Something I realize is that it's commitment that makes great artists. Your favorite artists are most likely in a very serious, committed relationship with their art. And you can be too. You just have to make that choice. Even if you've drifted away from your art, it will always be there. It'll be there if you choose to come back. This is a relationship that is 100% in your control. In relationships with others, you can't control what they do or what they truly think of you. But with your art, you decide when you're gonna draw. You decide when to take a break, and most importantly, you are fully in control of how seriously you want to take it. So ask yourself, what do I want out of creating? If you've been feeling disconnected from your art, or if you've been doubting yourself and thinking about quitting, this is your sign to get back into it. Because the difference between an artist who stays average and one who improves is really the relationship that they have with their art. The ones who improve and stay in that relationship, those are the ones that keep showing up. So show up, draw today, draw right now if you can. And trust me, your future self will thank you for it. Thank you guys so much for watching. You got this, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.